questions in the middle of my presentation, and unless I ask you, and now I'm gonna recite a poem. Most of you will know. Please don't shut up. If you're an early bird, be an early bird, and catch the worm for your breakfast plate. If you're an early bird, be an early bird, but if you're a worm, sleep late. Can one of you guess who wrote this poem? Shakespeare?
Shel Silvertein.
Correct. Well, introducing my Prezi, Shel Silvertein is who I studied. Here's a picture of him, kind of pirate-looking guy, and here's the Giving Tree, a book he wrote.
Snap.
What?
What? Yeah.
Let's see the arrow on the bottom. Okay, I'll do it for you. It'll be easier.
Here's a poem that he wrote. It's called Lazy Jane. You can read it. If once you finish reading it, you might notice that it had the same kind of humor than the one I just recited, and that kind of introduces to you guys the style of writing that Shel Silvertein used throughout his career. Who was he? He was born in Chicago, Illinois on May 10th, 1930. He did not get married, and sadly he passed away from a heart attack, which was surprising, in Key West, Florida, on September 27th, 1999. So he was only 69 years old. But throughout that short lifetime, he wrote a lot of books, he sang a lot of songs. I find him an amazing person. Here's a picture of Chicago, and here's a picture of kind of the beach part of where he died, Key West, Florida. In his childhood, he was a baseball fan. He liked the Chicago White Sox. He used to play baseball with his friends. He was not exactly what you called an athlete. After a while, he gave up baseball and started going artistic. And that worked out for him better than baseball because he wasn't very good at all. Right after he graduated from Roosevelt University, the only university which accepted him, he was called to serve in the Korean War. After 2 battles or so, they noticed that he wasn't fit for soldier, so because he made fun of the colonels a lot, and so they put him writing for the newspaper Pacific Stars and Stripes. So that was pretty much his life as a soldier. Here's a picture of how it was like in the Korean War. What did Shel do? He encouraged people to stop telling kids happily ever after poems because he thought that when they grow older, they'll supposedly notice that they're not as good as the people in the stories, and they're not as happy as the people in the stories. So, Shel Silvertein made that difference that none of his stories had a happy ending. Well, some did, but most of them, they didn't, and he didn't want them to. Here's a couple poems. What influenced him? His university professor. Here's a picture of him. Racism. He didn't like racism, so he started a campaign. And girls. In high school, he wanted to get a girlfriend, but he wasn't a good athlete, so he couldn't really do that, so he went into art, and that worked out a little bit better, but it still didn't get him a girlfriend. How did he do this? He used one type of pen throughout his whole career. That's very interesting. He used a lot of humor and magic. Without humor, he wouldn't be. Shel wouldn't be Shel. And persistence. He was criticized a lot of times, and he didn't give up. He continued on writing no matter what people said about him. Interesting facts. He had awful grades in college and school, and as I mentioned before, no university would accept him. He through a very rough adulthood, the beginning of that adulthood, he worked as a hot dog seller. Yeah, hot dog seller at the White Sox Stadium. And he sold a record number of hot dogs. How cool is that? And another thing about that, he was rich, but he dressed poorly. In fact, his brother said that he was quite a rich person, but you couldn't tell because he dressed like a homeless person. Here's a picture that goes about university. He studied art in the university because that was the only thing he was good at. My conclusion. Shel was a great person. He never gave up, and he gave us 5 poetry books, a lot of really funny songs, and more reality for little kids. In my opinion, he'll always be remembered.